After defeating the Demon King, our heroes felt a mix of emotions, from sadness to relief. They were honored by the king in his throne room and given official titles. The knights celebrated with fireworks, and the citizens danced in joy. Later, they enjoyed a beautiful natural sight together. The elf mage, Frieren, was accompanied by the tall priest, Heiter, the intimidating dwarf, Eisen, and the human hero, Himmel. Frieren promised to take them on more adventures and bid them farewell. Over the years, Frieren explored far and wide, learning new magic and rediscovering the world. While searching for a dragon horn, Frieren remembered that Himmel had won from their battle with the Demon King 50 years ago. They met up, and Himmel, looking older than ever, gave her the horn. They reunited with their old friends for another adventure, arriving at a breathtaking sight. Sadly, Himmel passed away soon after, leaving Frieren in tears. Determined to learn more about humans, Frieren visited the shady priest, Heiter. He asked her to take care of an orphan named Fern, whom he had saved. Initially hesitant, Frieren agreed after Heiter gave her a magic book and asked her to find a spell for immortality. She decided to teach Fern magic, emphasizing taking things step by step. Frieren spent her days deciphering the magic book and training Fern, with Heiter's approval. After 4 years, Heiter fell ill, but Fern refused to visit him until she became a capable mage. In a flashback, it is revealed how Heiter saved Fern from despair. Frieren respected Fern's determination and gave her space. She focused on uncovering the secrets of the One Piece. A year later, Frieren debunked Gold Roger's lies, and Heiter asked her to take Fern on their journey, recognizing her newfound skills. As they left, memories flooded Frieren's mind. They visited Heiter's grave, promising to meet him in Valhalla. Their adventures led them to a village where they encountered an old lady who wanted Himmel's statue repaired. Frieren used a shortcut spell to find flowers for the statue, but locating the rare blue moon weed proved challenging. Despite 6 months of searching, they made no progress until squirrels stole a pouch from the old lady. Following the squirrels, they discovered the blue moon weed in a tower, proving that perseverance pays off. The next day, they went into town and split up to buy groceries. Fern ended up following Frieren instead. Frieren bought several items and gathered information from some thugs. After a long day, Fern went back home, and Frieren treated her. The view looked amazing, and Frieren even got her a present. They spent the rest of their days practicing their magic. Fern's defense was getting stronger, and soon enough, she would be able to defeat demons on her own. Later, they went to a village to get rid of a demon. That night, Fern was anxious when she heard about what happened years ago. Even so, Frieren was on a whole other level. She unsealed the demon, who immediately started attacking her. She told him how humanity's magic had evolved over the years, but the demon was too stubborn to listen. He kept attacking like a child playing a video game. Unfortunately for him, none of his attacks worked, and Frieren defeated him in one move, like she was super-powered. The villagers were very pleased and relieved by the results. Now that is how we get things done. They then went to a beach that looked like it was full of shipwrecks. An old man asked Frieren to clean up the place in exchange for a magic book. After he left, Fern revealed that the book was fake. Even so, Frieren told her about the joy of helping others in need. 3 months passed since they started cleaning, and winter arrived. Fern took care of the house and Frieren, who acted like a childish, immortal elf. This shows the innocence in her heart. Using their telekinesis abilities, they worked hard, even though it looked boring and repetitive. Later that night, the old man insisted they finish faster, even though they were doing a great job. The next day, Frieren put in more effort than usual. She and Fern were able to restore the beach to its former glory. Frieren tried staying up all night but failed because she was too lazy. Fern did not let her slack off and dragged her along. After a few days, they went to meet Eisen, who was praying. Eisen promised her an amazing magic book, and they searched far and wide while having fun. They were looking for a book written by Himmel, who was Frieren's master. After reading the magic book, Frieren learned about a place called Orol, where spirits reside. Eisen requested her to talk to Himmel there as a final favor. On the journey, Fern thought about Hyder, revealing her feelings. In a town, they were warned about ghostly illusions tricking people. They suspected undead or creepy magic. Heading to the mountains, they found faint traces of illusion magic. Frieren warned Fern to stay alert. In the forest, Fern saw a ghost of Hyder, causing shock. Himmel's ghost appeared, but Frieren blasted it away. They met a dragon with a magic book. Fern attacked, angering the dragon. Remembering Stark's bravery, Frieren asked him to join. She gave him a day to decide. Fern doubted Stark's ability and found him responsible for splitting a hill, surprising her. Fern was impressed by Stark's strength and questioned why he initially hesitated to fight the dragon. Stark revealed his desire to protect the village and his dream of surpassing his master, Eisen. Fern shared her own experience of overcoming fear with intuition. The next day, Stark disappeared, but he returned with newfound determination to face the dragon. Despite his fear, Stark bravely confronted the dragon and defeated it, fulfilling Eisen's prophecy of his greatness. Frieren seemed more excited about getting the magic book afterward. She insisted Stark join her crew, and the three went to a distant kingdom. When they arrived, they were told the passage was blocked, so they split up. Stark went to satisfy his hunger. All the fighting must have made him famished. Fern joined him and tried convincing him to hurry up. They searched for clues on how to get past the checkpoint without trouble, even asking people for information. Unfortunately, they found nothing. When they met back up with Frieren, the guards kneeled to her, and the head guard apologized since they did not know she was a hero. She was then celebrated as a savior and escorted through the checkpoint. Actually, that is the treatment a queen deserves. In a flashback, Himmel and Hyder kept teasing Frieren about her obsession with magic books. After waking up, Frieren received a warm welcome from Fern, who was surprised at how early she got up. The three of them went straight to work and helped fix the road. The land was damaged from the war against demons. While working, Stark and Fern got into a heated argument over something trivial. They really have some chemistry going on. The old man thanked them for their hard work and asked Frieren how her adventures were going. He then invited them to participate in the yearly festival, which was to honor the heroes who saved their village. Even though Frieren was one of them, he barely recognized her. Himmel, as usual, stole the show and admired his statue. Despite being there, no one recognized Frieren. In this way, she stays anonymous. The next day, Frieren saw a couple of demons and prepared to attack them, but the king's guards held her back, and the demons mocked her. Frieren was imprisoned for attacking demons due to a past incident where a rescued demon wreaked havoc. While locked up, she shared her resentment towards demons. A demon tried to intimidate her but failed, resulting in his defeat. Meanwhile, Stark and Fern planned her escape. King Graf intervened, seeking answers about the missing demon and Fern's escape. The head demon, Luga, decided to attack since their secret was out. Using his blood magic, he obliterated everyone and subdued the king. On the street, Fern and Stark met up with Frieren, who told them everything that had happened. Together, they made a plan to save the kingdom from the demons. In the dead of night, they infiltrated the castle. Stark sneaked in to save the king, but while he was attempting the rescue, Luga attacked him and managed to subdue him. Little did Luga know it was all part of a trap, and Fern managed to blast a hole through his chest. They rescued the king and tried to escape. In another location, Frieren confronted Aura and her demon army, a rematch from 80 years ago. Despite Aura's mind-controlling scale and centuries of experience, Frieren remained confident. However, Aura's powers had grown stronger, making it challenging for Frieren to fight the zombies. Stark and Fern, seeing this, resolved to handle the remaining demons themselves. As they went outside looking for them, Fern was suddenly struck by a blow from Luga. At the same time, Lenny caught Stark off guard. They had sealed their mana and approached stealthily. After interrogating Fern, Luga and Fern engaged in a heated duel. Mage versus demon is a fight as old as time. Stark, on the other hand, was defeated easily, but got back up for round 2. The battle was reaching its peak as all forces were going all out. Fern, with her speed, kept attacking relentlessly. She was soon exhausted, creating an opening. Stark was struggling until Fern told him that Lenny's ability was to copy other people's fighting methods, and that she was mimicking Eisen's style of fighting. Even so, Stark got back up and landed a critical strike with all his might, and Fern did the same. This landed a victory for the heroes. Luga was surprised by his defeat until he uncovered a hidden truth. A flashback showed Frieren saving Flam from demons after a village was destroyed. Impressed, Flam became Frieren's mentor, teaching her to conceal most of her power. In the present, Frieren fought Aura's soldiers, believing her power was depleted. Aura then challenged her using scales to measure power. Back in the past, Frieren learned a lot from Flamma, who told her that demons do not hide their power out of pride, and this pride is the reason for their downfall. If Frieren learned how to hide her power indefinitely, demons would always underestimate her, giving her the element of surprise in battle. Several years passed, and Flam was growing old. As her final request, she advised Frieren to remain anonymous and always work behind the scenes. Frieren spent the rest of her life training and concentrating. Eventually, Himmel and the squad found her in the forest and asked her to join their mission. In the present, Aura stole Flam's soul and placed it on the scale. At first, her power was greater than that of our heroes, making her feel arrogant. She assumed she had won until Frieren unleashed her full power. Gaining control of the demon, she ordered it to end itself. This is a cruel way to end the battle. The next day, the king found the remains of his soldiers and was relieved Frieren was on their side. While she praised Stark and Fern for their good fight, Graf came across his son's emblem and was deeply thankful to Frieren for saving them from their troubles. He called them to his chamber and properly thanked them. He asked what he could do for them, but a guard interrupted, scaring Stark so much he fainted and had to be carried out. They spent a few days bonding with the people in the kingdom, enjoying the praise they received. When it was time to leave, they said their final goodbye to the king. However, the worst was yet to come. As winter arrived and a snowstorm hit, Stark could not handle it and passed out. Thankfully, Fern carried him to shelter where they found an elf doing squats. Strange. After getting to know him, they found out he was Kraft, the monk. He was quite devout and dedicated. Together, they managed to survive the harsh winter. When it was over, they bid farewell to each other and headed on their way to Ariel. Frieren was clumsy as usual and almost fell to her death. Her life flashed before her eyes, but she miraculously survived. It would take a lot more to kill an immortal elf. After the blizzard passed, they found a cozy village and were welcome to stay. Stark kept talking about a legendary sword, thinking he was the next King Arthur or something. They got to work, fighting monsters. Stark was focused, but a big bad wolf appeared, like from the Snow White story. Luckily, Queen Frieren saved the day. Stark was puzzled about the legendary sword. He thought Himmel had taken it, but Himmel was not the hero as expected. Devastated, Stark and the others went to another village. Frieren looked great, and Fern cheered everyone up. She left to find Stark and found him brooding alone. Later, Fern insisted on getting him a birthday present, and Stark was happy to have a friend. Maybe he is getting some special attention on the side. Later on, Frieren met a guy in trouble. He started telling her his story. He was stuck in quicksand and wanted her pity. Frieren did not seem to care and let him drown, but then Fern came along and saved him. The weird guy invited them over, but they refused. On their way, Stark got bit by a snake. They had to fly back for help. The priest could not cure him, so he called his brother, Sane. Sane healed Stark with a single touch, like he was a miracle worker. Frieren listened to another hopeless story. Later, Stark asked Sine to join them while he was gambling. Sine made him an offer he could not refuse. Fern found Stark and Sine naked after losing everything they had. Sine refused their offer and told them to find another priest. In a flashback, Frieren talked about how Himmel convinced her to join the squad. She kept persuading him. The next day, they kept following him around, nagging him. Later, Sine's brother told them that Sine loved someone else. Frieren tried to seduce him awkwardly, and it seemed to work on Himmel. Sine insisted he did wait for his friend and told them to leave without him. How cruel priests could be. Later, he apologized to Fern and agreed to travel with them. It is amazing that he had a sudden change of heart. As they reached a new town, Frieren was reminded of an old memory. Tensions rose when Fern and Stark argued over a forgotten birthday. Fern later apologized, and Stark gave her a gift. Meanwhile, Fern had a heart-to-heart with Stark. Overheard by Frieren and Sine, they discussed the corrupt priest, who was important to Sine. Frieren pampered Sine, much like she did with Heiter. They decided to take a carriage to the next village due to fatigue. Frieren tried to find a ring, but they were ambushed by a huge wyvern. They all felt hopeless, and Frieren did not want to kill it since the carriage would fall. She asked Stark to jump like Eisen did, but changed her mind and blasted the creature in one go, saving them. Later that night, the priest healed everyone, and they fixed the carriage. The next day, they worked well together. Stark and Fern seemed to be getting along despite being stuck in the forest. They got the carriage fixed and headed out on another adventure, with Sine complaining as usual.